Mr Speaker. My question is for the Minister for Education. Can the Minister update the House on how the Marshall Liberal government's investments and reforms in education have improved opportunities and outcomes for young South Australians?
Minister for Education.
Thank you, sir. I'm very pleased to answer this question. The member for King is an absolutely ardent advocate for education in her area and around South Australia, as indeed is everyone in the government. And when we came to government in March 2018, we had a very clear ambition for schooling and education and preschooling in South Australia. Every child, every kindy or classroom, wherever they live, to be supported to fulfil their potential. Our investment has been significant. Indeed, sir, in public schooling through the Department of Education alone, I can tell the House that in 2017-18, the budget for the Department for Education was $3.24 billion. The budget for this financial year is in excess of $4 billion. That is not just growth in enrolment, sir. That is significant extra investment as a result of our national school funding reforms, which we signed in late 2018 against the opposition of those opposite, and extra investment because of the move of Year 7 to high school, which increases the per capita rate for those students opposed by those opposite. The number of teachers, just for example, whether in FTE or headcount, has increased by over 1,000. Headcount, we've gone from 14,090 teachers to 15,339 in our public system alone. Our investments in support for students with additional needs, in addition to the $60 million plus budget for support services, we've also increased support for children with disability and additional needs in our schools from around $206 million in 2017 to last year. Not this year, but last year even, $292 million. And we expect growth to continue because the reforms that we have committed to sees that increased funding there for students who indeed need it. Our strategies to achieve reform have meant that it's not just about investment, it's also about outcomes. Our literacy guarantee has ensured that front and centre, at that foundational building block in the early years, children being taught to read effectively has dramatically improved. That's why in our phonics checks, the first year in 2018 that had been rolled out in all government schools, we saw a result of indeed 43% of our Year 1 students at the standard. Last year it was up to 63%, and I'm looking for more regular and steady growth in the years to come. Our NAPLAN results show the most rapidly improving NAPLAN results of any state in the nation. Students with disability SACE completion, record numbers last year, even through a pandemic, with 323 students with intellectual disability. Aboriginal students, supported by our Aboriginal education strategy, which has seen not just significant increases in funding in workabout centres, in SASTA academies, but also the introduction into South Australia for the first time of Clontarf academies, now in 7 locations. And a couple of weeks ago, the launch in Whyalla of the Shooting Stars Academy for young Aboriginal women. And indeed last year, that's seeing results too, with record Aboriginal SACE completion, over 400 for the first time. Entrepreneurial education, music strategies, our languages strategies, including 5 public schools now accredited to deliver the International Baccalaureate diplomas, the significant vocational education reforms, and, sir, the move of Year 7 into high school, the most significant structural move within our public education system in generations. And, sir, because of that and capacity growth, supported initially by a $690 million promise from the former government, grown to $1.4 billion worth of investment in improving our public school infrastructure. The rollout of the fastest internet system in the country to our public schools outside of the ACT. Sir, this is a government that has invested in education, delivered reform in education, has delivered for children and young people in South Australia.